Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Gianna.
And this is Booked Up Babes.
Woo! Hey everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yes, we're a little wackadoodle tonight.
A little loopy.
Yeah.
Do you know when you I think it's because we had a full debrief beforehand.
Yes.
So we just we're let's just get loose. Wow. And now we're okay, let's record this episode, and we're just oh, well, we're a little loosey-goosey.
We're in chill mode.
Yeah, absolute utter chill mode.
Yeah.
But hello everybody.
Hi.
First episode of 2025.
This is.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a break.
We did a lot of we took a holiday, as the Brits would say.
Look at you and your British accent.
Because that doesn't even mean that we went away. We did, but that doesn't mean that. It means that we just took a little break. A little break.
A little break.
Just a little break. But we did actually go away. So
we did. Together.
We did.
Yeah.
It's we're friends.
It's we're friends or something outside of this. So weird, I know.
Yeah, Emily celebrated her birthday in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was I'm fucking coming. And then I actually took over and meet my bachelorette. That's exactly how we planned it.
That's totally how it went. That was the order of operations, for sure.
Yeah. She was
my
cool
birthday
with it.
came first.
She was cool with it. She was you can totally hijack my birthday. I was great.
100%.
You'll get another one. Yeah. I won't get another bachelorette.
The minute you were my bachelorette is this weekend, I was great. So I will go early and have a birthday.
And you had
it was a great
time.
excuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I love getting a tan in January because then when May hits and I can wear a tank top again, I'm not quite as pasty as I could be.
Wow, yours lasts until May?
No, but the whiteness gets just whiter and whiter the longer I'm away from the sun.
Okay.
So if I have a little moment where I go somewhere where I can wear a tank top, it helps a little.
So one of my favorite things about Emily, I'm just gonna share this, is she has this progression of bathing suits.
It's smart.
Fantastic. I'm over here, day one of the year, the sun is out, we're going to the beach. I'm I'm in a bikini. I want to burn. She's she takes off her sweatshirt and she's in a long sleeve one piece. And I'm rock on, sister. Then the next time we go to the beach, it's a two-piece, but the two-piece might even have long sleeves. And then the next time, it's still a two-piece, but it's modest, you know?
Oh, we stay modest at the beginning of summer.
Oh, yeah. And then we get to the reveal. And she has her, cute little two-piece on because she's exposed enough of her skin to the sun where she's I can be a little bit reckless here.
It's called the modesty to slutty kind of Richter scale of letting my skin see the sun.
You gotta do it little by little.
Little by little. We start more modest and we get sluttier as the summer progresses. And by August, I'm in my skimpiest of all skimpiest bikinis.
And you're golden.
And I'm golden by then.
She's bronze.
And then even then, I'll wear it and I'll be oh, there was a spot that hasn't been seeing the sun yet because this is my sluttiest bikini.
And now I'm burned in that one spot.
In that one location. But it's not my whole body.
Which is good. Yeah. I'm the opposite. When we were in Puerto Rico, I looked at everyone and I was am I red? And some of you guys were your face is a little red. And I was good. Love it. Actually, I'm peeling on my forehead to the point where it looks I'm shedding my skin. I'm losing this skin.
My wrist is peeling right now.
Yes.
I have a little wrist. My back peeled a couple days ago.
But that's a sign of a great time.
Exactly. So this is why you've missed us because we were busy getting sunburns and peeling.
Yeah, we were having a very good time.
Yeah. So
but we're back. And today we're going to be talking about Queen of Shadows.
Yes.
Because we're still moving through our Sarah J. Maas, Emily's moving through her Sarah J. Maas journey.
I am.
I'm just here with her for the ride.
I'm almost done because I've done ACOTAR up into what she's released. I've done Crescent City up to what she's released.
Mm-hmm.
And we're past the halfway mark on Throne of Glass. So
yes, we are.
I feel good.
Yeah. So we have a drink today too.
Yes.
And Emily just came up with the best name for it. We're calling it the Hello Witchling.
Hello Witchling.
Oh, because if you know, you know.
Exactly.
It's fun. We've never done anything like this one before. It's
like a flirty margarita.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's like a healthier margarita almost.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit of tequila. We got some blood orange juice, some lemon juice, agave. And then we got really fancy. And we did an egg white.
So it's frothy.
Yeah, but it's really, really good. Very refreshing.
Very refreshing.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So good.
So good. Yeah, it's like a blood orange margarita.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's very refreshing. But okay, let's get into it.
Oh my God, let's talk about it.
So, for me, I think once Air of Fire is a fantastic book.
Great
the whole
book.
series is great. There's not, in my opinion, not a bad book.
Yes.
But I think when you get to Queen of Shadows, like I was so excited for us to get to Queen of Shadows. Because I was like, when we get there, that's when everything starts to really pick up.
I agree with that. Yeah, the storyline definitely has taken off now.
It's like all of these, and I think you'll see it even more with Empire of Storms too. It's like Queen of Shadows is when like all of these people and all of these little threads start finding their way together. So like, because you have, so Aelin is officially Aelin.
Yeah.
She's no longer Selena.
She's not owning that name anymore.
No. At one point in the book, is she like, I have to be Selena Sardathian one more time. And that was such a great scene, such a great time. But she comes back to Rifthold and she's like, I am Aelin. And our girl waits no time.
No.
She's like, well, I guess I'll just immediately start plotting and inserting myself in all of Kale's plans.
Which he does not like.
No.
And this is where I texted Gianna when I was reading this. I go, okay, I could see why people don't like him. But in his defense.
Literally, this is exactly how the conversation.
I get it now, but also in his defense. It's his ex.
Yeah.
She lied to him. Rightfully so. He understands that, but he's still hurt. Also rightfully so. You're not going to be super friendly and buddies with your ex that you didn't have a very great breakup with.
Yeah.
She scarred his face.
Yeah. And I will say, I think I have... I like Kale. I've always liked Kale. Have I thought that he's a bit of a fucker at moments? Absolutely.
He doesn't handle himself well.
No. And I feel like with every reread that I do, I understand him a little bit more. So like on this reread, I was like, I was in agreement with you. I was like, you know what? I get it. You feel fucked over.
Yeah.
You found out this huge, massive thing. This one thing that you've known your entire life, you walked away from. This person who you know you should probably fear because you've been told you should your entire life is the person you're in love with. Then she leaves, comes back, and she's still her arrogant self, and you're over here and you're like,
I'm still processing.
I'm in pain. I'm processing. Yeah. So I think I understood him more in this book. But the one thing that I definitely was like, hell no to was when he was like, are you kidding me? You went over there and you achieved nothing and you fell in love with your Fae prince. And I'm like, my man, let's not pretend like you could have done anything better.
Yeah, that was the moment where I texted. I go, okay, I can see why this was not his best moment. I did say that. When he's like, you went over there, you just had to make a show, and I was like, you should probably shut your mouth. Like, that was the moment. He apologizes for that, though, right?
He apologizes later in the book.
Yeah.
Kale goes through. If you really think about it, he goes through a lot in this book.
So much.
He definitely has a lot of character growth in the rest of the series, but like from where he was in the beginning of this book to the end of this book, you're like, you experienced quite a bit of emotions across the board. You went through a lot. You dealt with a lot of information. You dealt with a lot of hard things. You didn't always process them well, but you did deal with them. Yeah. So by the end of the book, when he's like, not even the end of the book, before they go to the castle, and this is one of my favorite moments, is when they're on the roof and they're talking, and he apologizes to her, and she essentially apologizes to him, not for, well, kind of for like what she did, but she also was like, I promised you that I would always pick you.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I'm not that person anymore. I made you a promise that I couldn't keep, and I'm sorry that I hurt you. And like, the way that they leave things, you're like, okay, good. Like, you guys really needed to, like, find a common ground here.
Definitely.
And I think that outside of Sam, like, who is no longer with us.
Yeah, Sam.
May he rest peacefully.
Sweet Sam.
He is the ghost. He haunts the narrative of this series until the very end.
Yeah.
But outside of Sam, it's like Kale was the only person that she ever even remotely came close to loving.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this though I think we talked about in the last episode, just to rehash like quickly, that like what I like about this series is that she has more than one love.
Yes.
And so he definitely, I don't think she didn't love him fully.
Mm-hmm.
He's just, you have that like person you were in love with at the time and you have fallen out of love with them.
Yeah.
And so then you see them in different lights because you have fallen out of love with them, so you see them in a different way.
Mm-hmm. But something that I have a lot of obviously favorite parts of the series in this book, but there's a part at the end of the book where Adian, because she gets Adian back too. You guys know how we do things. We jump all over the place. We'll get to it, okay?
More about like the characters.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Timeline? Who is she?
No.
But they're about to. It's like the night before they go to the castle
To save Adian?
No, to do the whole like Dorian, and she like brings him the traitor, like brings Kale as a traitor or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like either right before, the night before, or like right before they do it. And she stands in front of Rowan, Adian, and Kale, and she says, she literally says the word, she's like, as I stand in front of these three men who mean more than anything. And I'm like, yes, because there was a bond there. There was a love there. And I'm so glad that she was able to look at him and be like, you still mean
something to me.
Such a great deal to me. It's just not the way that we thought it could be.
Yeah.
And for her specifically to have been felt so wronged by him, and then later on look at him and still like couple him in with her cousin.
Yep.
Who is her only living family.
And who she has an incredible relationship
with. Who's like her brother, and then Rowan, who is very obviously her counterpart, someone that she feels deeply, deeply emotionally connected to.
Yeah.
To see the three of them together and loop Kale into the sentence of the three like males who mean the most. Like I'm like, I love that moment. I love that moment. It's like you guys came so far.
Yeah, well, and I think, I appreciate somebody who can look at a past relationship and like see for what it was in the moment. We all hurt each other at some point. Some relationships have more negative outcomes than others. Some have really bad outcomes. Those that you can feel differently about those ones. But like sometimes you have a relationship with somebody where you just fall out of love with them. And it's nothing about their character. And I like the fact that like, yeah, he did betray her a bit. But like also she knows it wasn't in his heart to betray her. He didn't do it intentionally. He did it thoughtlessly. And like she can recognize that he's doing a lot for their cause. He cares about the people of that city. She sees his character. She recognizes that. She can be like, you are somebody who's still very important to me.
Exactly.
Like if he had gone back to the king and still served the king after all this, I would have been like, fuck this dude.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that.
And there's no way that Aelin would have looked at him and been like, I can forgive you for this.
No, but he made a lot of strides in his character that she could be like, okay, like you're still the guy I know you are capable of being. We had some hiccups in the way.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that their progression over the book was done really well. I think it was very realistic. I think that was like the best thing about it for me. I agree. This is very realistic.
In a fantasy novel, which you don't see very often. Like love is normally faded and it's only one and it's only this and it's only, and this one's very like nuanced and gorgeous in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think that people really lose that because of their personal feelings about Kale. And I mean, I get it. You don't have to love him. No. But as I always say, all you people, you're like, I love a complex character. And then you hate Kale. And I'm like, I hate to break it to you. That's a complex character.
We also say that we like complex characters, but we talked about the TV show Younger before this. And
she's not complex, she's just stupid.
Liza is complex. She's just toxic and complex. And
She's not complex. She's a woman who broke up with a younger man because he wanted things from her that she could not give him. She wanted babies. She wanted marriage. Then she ends up with an age-appropriate man who's so perfect for her. So perfect.
She sabotages the shit out of that relationship.
Sabotages the relationship. It ends. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen Younger.
Yeah, spoilers.
But, you know, it's been out for a while. Sabotages it. They break up. Show ends with her
hinting,
going to the bar and talking to the younger dude that she originally was like, we can't have a life together. And having it ends the same way it started. And I'm like, girl, that's not complex. That's just...
It's a self-destructive person.
She's stupid.
It's like watching Orange is the New Black. She's also self-destructive.
Yeah.
I don't like watching shows like that. Weeds was like that too.
What was?
Weeds. Did you ever watch the show Weeds?
No, I never watched that.
Oh, you want to see a complex, self-destructive character? Weeds is aggressively annoying at times because of the decisions she makes.
Oh God, I can't do
Season
stuff
1's
like
incredible
that.
though. One of the best seasons on TV. I love that season.
I can't do stuff like that.
No, she gets really...
It hurts.
But it's always women. Like, I can't think of a TV show...
I mean, let's think about it. Are all of these TV shows written by men?
No, not Orange is the New Black, right?
Oh. I don't know.
Orange is the New Black and Weeds are written by the same person. It's Kenji. I think that's it.
Quick Google search, guys.
Hold, please.
This is why the internet is a great thing. Okay, so Weeds?
Weeds. TV show. I want to say it's
Weeds TV show. Writers.
Genji. There we go. Genji. Yeah, that's
is that a woman?
It's a woman. It's a woman. There we go. And she wrote Orange is the New Black as well.
Wow, so she just likes writing women who are
super complex and make terrible choices. It's not like Darren Star. Because he does it too. But he's a gay man.
And he's responsible for so many iconic shows.
Yeah, Sex and the City is...
But there's at least one character on those shows where you're like, good Lord, get it together.
Yeah, like, why are you doing these things? Okay, so anyways... Carrie Bradshaw. We were talking about that today. So anyways, but to go into this, we respect Kale and his complexity.
I do. Yes. I think every reread I'm like, I understand you just a little bit more.
That much world changing takes a minute to get used to.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I'm a big fan if somebody's willing to grow and learn from something, but it's gonna take me a minute, give them a minute.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
Like, I don't like when people don't give people a minute.
Oh, we say this all the time.
I know.
Just give me a minute.
Like, sometimes, I don't know, if your whole world is revolved around hating this and being scared of that and da-da-da-da, and that's what you've been told and that's what you've been conditioned. But you've learned that's wrong. And you want to know that it's wrong. You aren't going to know it's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. It drives me crazy. You in your head do, but your heart and everything else, it has to catch up.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
You're so right.
I know. Always. Tell Greg that.
Tell my husband that.
Tell my husband.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated the progression of not only Kale in this book, but also their relationship.
Yes, I agree.
Because Aylin also grew a lot in this book as well. She grows in every book.
Yeah.
But I think we saw her as Selena, and I feel like, because I really do feel like she's so different as Selena than she is as Aylin.
Yes.
At multiple points it's pointed out that at either Kale or Rowan or Avian is a queen is speaking to me. A queen is looking at me. And I just think that Aylin is one of the most cunning and intelligent characters I've ever read about. She's always 2 steps ahead. She's always got, and unfortunately, we have to thank Arabin Hamel for that.
Yeah. He sucks.
He's terrible, but he's hot. Which is a real conundrum.
What are you going to do with a hot, terrible person? Make them morally gray.
Yeah. But he's not.
He's
not morally gray.
He's the worst.
He's just the worst fucking person ever. Oh, he's the worst. In the beginning of the book, when she sees who he was meeting up with, Kale, And he's like, I missed you. And I'm like, I was like, that sound, by the way, was me vomiting.
Yeah.
When he said that, I was like, I'm going to need you to literally stop talking. I hate that man. I hate that man. But it's such a conundrum. Again, it's my favorite word. Tonight, at least. Because so much of why Aelin is good at what she does
is because of him.
Is because of what he's taught her to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's so much trauma there that she's like, I don't want to be the person he molded me into. But like, she knows to think 2 steps ahead because of him. Mm-hmm. She knows how to be stealthy and lethal because of him. Yep. So it's like, I don't want to say so much of her identity because her identity is truly her own. But he placed building blocks.
Oh, yeah.
And she built upon those. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's another reason why the night where they kill him, she's like looking across the city. And it's like this thing where she's like, I hate him, but I owe him everything.
He does, he kind of like screws them still, even in his death.
Oh my God, because he's the worst person ever.
Like he knew they were going to kill him. And he's like, oh, you want to kill me? I know.
Yeah, right? Like, because Aelin knew to change the bank stuff, his will.
Yeah.
Because she was like, fuck you.
Crazy.
Oh, he's the worst. I'm so happy he's dead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that character. I love a series where, like, it's not one villain all the way through, so I'm happy that villain is now gone. I mean, the king's still, like, the consistent villain for sure, but I'm happy to have gotten rid of one boss, you know? Let's move on to the next video game.
But he's not anymore.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So, obviously, the very big theme of this book is the Valg. Valg. I don't want to call them Valg. I don't like that word. Valg.
Yeah.
So,
because the king isn't really a player like that.
No, because you get to the end of the book, and that was another moment where I was like, are you... At the end of the book, when the king is like, Aelin Galathini is here to save my soul after all, and he's like saying all this stuff. I'm like, are you gaslighting me?
It was a Darth Vader moment for sure.
I'm like, are you gaslighting me? Like, are you for real, or are you screwing with me? For a hot second, I was like, "That's right."
I totally forgot. Yeah, that's totally right.
That he's like been freed, but he was, and he's like, and
he's been under a spell just like everyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, you come to find out that the real bad guy the entire time was the Duke Parrington.
Duke Parrington's the bad guy,
who is actually the number one bad guy.
Yeah.
Erewhon.
It's kind of like in Lord of the Rings.
Erewhon?
No. But you know, in Lord of the Rings, when like that one king's like all like old and wrinkly, and like
yes.
Aragorn comes in, and then they like Gandalf gets his soul released, and he's
is that wait, that's the door moment, right?
Yeah. That guy's like possessed, you know.
The things I would do to be those doors.
Those doors.
Great moment. No, I was saying Erewhon because I'm like, that is his name, right? Because I know it's his name, but now there's like that market in California that's called Erewhon. And I'm like, wait, that's his name, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
I'm gonna look it up. Just to be sure. But yeah, so we found out that Duke Parrington is...
Duke Parrington, you're right. So it's like the kingdom is still being ran by the Valg at this rate. What is it?
It's Erewhon.
Erewhon, yeah.
But it is also a market in California, in case you're wondering.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so like this whole book was just like a ton of information, but we pretty much find out that the king
he was possessed the whole time. So all the evil shit he did, which could you imagine contending with that as like his wife and kids?
No.
You know?
No.
Like,
I'm like, so I'm like, you had sex with this woman as a demon.
Oh, yeah.
And she just didn't realize that you were like your eyes were black. Like, did she...
She married him before he got possessed, right?
I don't know.
Because maybe she didn't. Maybe that's all she knows.
I think that they found... No. I think that Parrington like led him down to the crypts when they were like teenagers, when they were really young.
So she's only known him as possessed by the demon. Because
Because
it's not like Dorian has like fond memories of his dad being really playful and one day he snapped out of it.
Yeah, no, Dorian's just like, he's been this way his entire life. And
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't
like my dad.
Dorian was like, that's why Dorian was like, when his dad started speaking, he's like, you're lying. Because he doesn't know that man.
No,
he has no idea who that person is. Yeah.
Which, could you imagine contending with that? Like, you've never known your real father? Like, he raised you, but you never knew really who he was at his heart?
When we get to Empire of Storms, so Empire of Storms, Dorian that's my Dorian. Like, that's my man.
I'm ready for it.
That's also, it's like this, Dorian is like two people for me. That's my man, but that's also the person I want to protect and put in my pocket and just hold. Because that man has so much trauma.
Oh my god, I mean,
so much trauma.
He was also possessed for like a chunk of time.
For a while.
Yeah. But like his
Poor
dad, you think about his poor father, like his dad was possessed for like 25 years.
Decades.
30 years maybe. Like I don't know how old his dad is. They don't say his age specifically, but like
no. And at the moment we don't even know his name.
He's just the king.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yeah. So like we know nothing about this man. Besides that we now know that he was
and possessed. I made a mistake saying the king was the villain, but like the same villain still exists because the king wasn't the king.
Mm-hmm. He was a demon. Yeah. I was gonna use like a word. Scapegoat doesn't work.
He was
a host.
A host. There we go.
A scapegoat.
A little bit.
A whistleblower. I'm just saying.
And it's crazy because like you can tell Manon's catching on to Duke Parrington. She's not fucking with him.
Well, it's because Manon, like the entire time because they're at Morath, and we see Manon. I loved that we got to know like the 13 more and like the Coven more and everything.
Yeah.
And when they're at Morath, she's like, the men here smell wrong.
Yeah.
And she like tells her like the 13, she's like, do not feed from them. Don't kill them. Don't eat them. Don't touch them. Go somewhere else. Do something else. Like, don't even like bed them.
Yeah.
Because she was like, they smell wrong, and something is wrong here. So and also, like, this is also a woman who's like, everybody who ever comes across me, human, fears me. Yeah. And Duke Parrington and like, whatever, Elite's uncle's name is, Vernon, they're like, not even like phased by her. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, how are you not scared of me?
And like I think for the first time outside of her grandmother, she's like, I actually don't hold power over you. Like you hold power over me. And you see that struggle for her throughout this entire book.
Yeah, totally.
Like you see her be like, I'm not supposed to answer to mortal men. Yep. And yet here I am
doing
it because my grandmother tells me that this is what I need to do. And I think like the breaking point was obviously like with like Asterin
finding out her story about the baby.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so heartbreaking.
And the guy that she was in love with. And she like never told Manon.
No.
Heartbreaking.
And Manon is like, how do you even know what love feels like? Because she's like, I don't know what that feels like. Yeah. She's like, we don't have emotions like that. Yeah. And Asterin's like, I felt it.
I know it.
Yeah. The fact that she went
and watched him age.
And she said that sometimes he would sit on his porch and just look up at the sky as though he was waiting for her.
The fact that you're legit crying right now. I love you so much. No, but like actually, because also like the fact that she never like went back and like said goodbye even before he passed. And she never did.
Because she thought she'd be able to. She never did.
I know.
That is one of the most heartbreaking. In Throne of Glass, like there's a lot of heartbreaking storylines, but a lot of them are like for not minor characters, but like side characters. And like that was one of the most heartbreaking stories of this entire series. I was like, man, that broke my heart. Yeah. Because like Asterin is also one of those characters where she's like obviously lethal, but she's like, I don't want to say comedic relief, but like she's like funny and like you know what I mean. So then like to have that character be like, you're going to sit here and you're listening to this really freaking terrible thing that happened to me and to somebody that I deeply cared about. And that was really the only moment that we saw Manon be like, fuck.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
She goes, what am I saying yes to? What am I agreeing to? What am I being complicit in?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, fuck.
Like centuries of just doing what her grandmother wanted her to do. And for the first time, she's like, what am I doing? Like, what am I agreeing to here? And I thought that was just like, it's like such a pivotal point.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy pivotal point in the series, in the book. I really appreciated what we got to see about like the 13 and the Covenant and everything like that. I love the 13.
Yeah, they're great. I feel like they're gonna be one of those things that like I get more and more invested in.
Yes.
Because you're loosely invested right now.
Well, because we met them in Heir of Fire, but like when you're reading Heir of Fire, no offense to her, but you will read the Manon chapters and you're like, oh.
There's clear, her chapters are world building.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to read about this witch.
Yeah.
And then like Queen of Shadows, you're like, oh, I love this witch. I love the 13. And then as you continue through the series, like you just get to know them more and you're like, I love them.
Yeah, they already in this book, you're like, okay, like these are people I fuck with kind of energy.
Yeah. They're so cool. They're so cool.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. And like every scene they're in is just so cool. And Manon is one of my favorite characters.
I like her a lot.
You're going to like her more and more as the series goes on. She's one of my favorite characters.
So since we named our drink after it, do we want to talk about her and Dorian's interaction?
Of course we do. I should have wore that shirt tonight.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was really cold.
It's so cold here.
And that shirt's a crop top cold. And it's a short sleeve. It's like 10 degrees outside. I was like, I'm throwing on a sweatshirt.
I looked at the temperature. I worked from home this morning. I looked at the temperature and it was 13 degrees outside. Yeah. And I looked at the dog and I was like, you good for another hour?
Can you like keep it in?
We're not going out right now. We're gonna wait till at least gets up to 15.
Yeah, so usually I go for runs in the morning. In the last few days, I've been going for a run like midday. It's still freaking cold.
No, yeah.
But like the mornings, it's the temperature itself is like 18 degrees, but it feels like it's 4. Yeah. And I'm like, I'll wait till the sun's out.
Yeah, not doing that. No. So
yeah. So I didn't wear that shirt today, but it's my favorite shirt.
And it says Hello Witchend on it.
It says hello, yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so easily one of the most quoted parts of this entire series, loved parts of this entire series, because it's so hot.
It is.
Because you have...
Seeing her snaps him out of the demon.
Oh,
I'm so cool.
So, I don't know if you guys know this, but Dorian's my favorite character.
She might like him a little bit.
This might come as a surprise. So I already think that he's incredibly suave and very hot. And unfortunately, he's really much more suave and even hotter when he's like the demons in him, because he's just like arrogant.
Yeah.
But like the moment when they meet and she says, hello, Princeling, and he says, hello, Witchling, I was like, yes. Yes. I'm like, when I read the series for the first time, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but the answer is yes.
Well, and you can tell there's something there because she's the only person who comes out of the demon to talk to her.
I mean, because the demon inside of Dorian is like, don't look at her, don't talk to her.
Demon's terrified of her.
And Dorian himself, because so we know that Aelin and Chaol are like in the bushes and shit.
Yeah.
And they're like getting ready to strike. So when she is like, what is your name? And he says his name.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, did you hear that? And Dorian himself is like,
oh my God, I know my name.
He like blinks because he's like, that voice was mine.
Yeah.
Like, that was me. That came out of me. And obviously hasn't happened before. And it's like the fact that she was able to like pull him out of that dark space just by like taunting him.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and
Dorian loves dangerous things. Yeah. Dorian loves a dangerous thing.
And yeah, why he liked Selena too.
Yeah. Loves a challenge.
But, you know, when she goes to Aelin and is like, he's in there.
Yeah, witch killer.
Yeah.
The human is still inside him.
Yeah. And it's like, you're
iconic.
It's such a great moment.
Yeah.
It's such a cool moment because they haven't interacted much. And it's just like, she's like, he's still in there. Like, well, because they're about to kill him.
Yeah. And
because they're like, we have to. Like, we have no choice. And Kale finally has come around to it. He's like, we're killing him. We're doing it. You were right. I was wrong. Because when she went to go kill him the first time, he stopped her and was like, don't kill him. That's my man still. Because they have a love for each other. Respect for Kale and his love for Dorian.
Oh my God, yeah. Their love is so deep. And sometimes I'm like...
Blindsided deep, though. Like, he wasn't looking clearly, and she was.
Yes, exactly.
For sure. But it saved Dorian in the end, because then Manon is the one who brings it out of him.
And the only reason that happened... So, Kale fucked up when they were in the forest, and he just decided to try to go after Dorian himself. And I was like... and Aelin was like, what the fuck are you doing? But he was like, I just want it to end it for him. And if you really think about it, if Kale hadn't done that, then Aelin would have never goaded Manon. And granted, a lot of really bad stuff happened after she did that. Yeah. But she would have never owed Aelin for her life. Yeah. So that would have never happened. So yes, Kale, you messed up. You should have waited. And Aelin ended up understanding like
why
exactly why he did it. But if that hadn't happened, Manon would have never owed her a life debt.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that she did that, because she was like, I owe her a life debt.
Yeah. No, and it was an impulsive thing that, like, everyone could understand why he did it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was dumb, but, like, they're also still all under the age of 26. God, they're
so young. They're
all still really young.
Young.
Don't tell me you weren't impulsive at like 20.
Oh my God. Okay, so I posted a video not too long ago when Wicked first came out, and I used like a sound, and I was like, oh, Rhysand's the best Sarah J. Maas man. And I was like, no. And then it's the part where Ariana goes, oh yeah, right. Yeah. And I say Dorian, and somebody on the post is like, Dorian is a womanizer and this and this and this. Rowan is so much more like this. And I'm like, what we're not going to do is compare a over 200-year-old male to a literal like 18, 20-year-old boy. I was like, this is no, of course he's not going to act as mature as a 200-year-old person. I was like, this is not a good or valid argument. I think that you have no ground to stand up. Sorry.
Also, preferences are a thing.
Yeah.
Also, we're just arguing over what, like, romantic leads we like more.
Yep. But I think it's really easy for people to forget that they're still so young because they are going through so much.
I mean, they're going through, like, really traumatic shit. It's like, you know, like, when people go off to war at 18.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you're not ready for that, but you have to be.
Yeah.
And that's what all of these people are. All these characters are like, we're not ready to have to do this, but we don't have a choice.
But it's
so we're doing
the situation they're in.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think it's really easy to forget that they're, in the grand scheme of things, they're children still.
Yeah.
So, I was when that happened, when Manon was like, witch killer, the human is still inside him, like the way that like turned the tide, like just switch up real quick. And Carol was like, we're going to do things differently.
Yes.
Yeah, so good. And Aelin even agreed with him when that happened about how if it was Rowan,
she would have done the same thing.
Exactly. Which
says how much she loves Rowan over Dorian and Kale.
But
I'm not saying she doesn't love them. But like her love for Rowan is deep.
And Kale's love for Dorian is deep. Like deep. Because Kale also held so much guilt about leaving Dorian at the castle. Like he blames himself for what Dorian had become.
He feels like he owes him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But It's love in different ways, but like yes, it's very obvious that
baby, I'd run through a forest for you and get everyone else in danger.
I would do that for you too.
I know, because we got Dory and Kale love between us.
Did.
Yeah. Bestie.
I really am Dorian. You really are Kale.
Really though, really. And I piss a lot of people off with my very following the rules, rule book girly kind of energy for sure.
And I fall in love with everything. I'm a very emotional, I just find love in everything, and Dorian is a lover of everything.
And I'm like, what were the rules?
Yes.
We should follow them. But I'll ride and die you to the end.
Fuck yeah.
It's Kale.
Oh.
I'm Kale.
Yes,
that's why I love
for
him
sure.
so much. I understand him.
You do, yes. But yes, I will say that that's definitely a testament to show how much Aelin like really deeply cares about Rowan.
Oh my god. Well, because when she sees him the first time in this book,
that's one of my favorite parts of the entire series. My favorite part of the entire series.
great when she just cries.
When Nesrin is like, "Who is that?" I can recite it from the book.
Oh my god, do it.
"Who is that?" Nesrin asked. Adrian smiled. "Rowan." End of chapter. Moves on to the next chapter.
She just reads that on loop. It's like me when I was 16 and discovered Pride and Prejudice, the movie with Keira Knightley, and rewatched the ending. Mrs. Darcy about 400 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, quick detour, because I actually really think that this is very important. It's about Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, that's the first our detour going.
Everybody talks about the hand flex, and I get it. I love it. I do.
Okay, what's your moment then?
Nobody talks about when they're fighting in the rain.
Uh-huh.
And she says like her last cutting thing to him. And they're like slowly moving closer to each other. Like you can see it. And she's like looking at his lips. And he's like looking at her lips. And then he dips his head just the bare minimum. Like he's gonna kiss her.
Yeah.
And she like lifts her chin. And that's when he says, whatever he says.
Oh,
when
he says,
like,
I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah.
And then he just leaves. Nobody talks about that part. And I'm like, guys, like that.
Because it's right after she said, if you had acted in a more gentlemanly manner. And he goes, I'm sorry, my like actions have been so like,
yes.
yeah, whatever. I know what he says. I can't
so
say
do I,
right
and
now.
I can't
God,
think of
it's
it.
gonna drive me crazy.
But no one talks about that part. And I'm like, guys, that's the shit we like to read about. That is the shit. Like, that's the tension. That's the emotion. So with the fact that I'm like, yes, the hand flex is everything, and I love it. And the fact that that wasn't scripted. He did it on his own. And they kept it.
McFadden, man. McFadden, baby.
He also has never read the book. He just read the script. But he fucking nailed it.
But he did a good job.
He killed it.
He did a good job.
But everybody talks about the hand flex, and I'm like, we are missing the moment. And it is that moment. Because I'm like, just kiss. Just make out. Just do it. Obviously, it doesn't happen. But anyways, I had to talk about that.
Not in a Jane Austen book.
I had to talk about that.
Yeah, so anyways, that is your moment where you've probably reread that moment where they see each other. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just love that she becomes so vulnerable so quickly the minute he shows up. Because she's so like, I'm the queen, I'm in charge energy. Like what she needs to have. The minute he's there, she's like, oh my god, I'm a human and I need my person.
Are we now talking about Queen of Shadows again?
Yeah.
We are? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, this is definitely Queen of Shadows.
Okay, I remember what he says.
Oh my god, say it, cite it.
He's like, I'm sorry for wasting so much of your time.
Oh, thank you, in Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
There we go. I'm sorry, madam, for wasting so much of your time. There we go. Thank you. Okay, if you did not keep up with that, understood. We went from Pride and Prejudice to Queen of Shadows, Pride. Queen of Shadows, Pride. Queen of like kind of
And if
energy.
you're watching this, you would have seen Emily jump back into Queen of Shadows, and I was just staring at the table like, what did he say? I was digging into the depths of my brain.
When I tell you we have the same favorite movie.
We do.
Well, like it's that for me, and then That Thing You Do is my other one, which I introduced you to.
Fantastic film.
Yeah.
Watched it and I was like, let's start it over.
Let's just repeat it. Like I could watch this on repeat. It's very
so good. But yes, so now back to Queen of Shadows.
Yes.
When she, like, runs down the alleyway and, like, oh, God. Like, their reunion was so good. He, like, she, like, buries herself in his arms and he, like, sniffs her because he's fae. And it's just, like, so romantic and I love it so much. And, like, it's also when they get back to the house.
Yeah.
And they're both wearing their hoods. And they go into her room and she leans up against the door and she's like, take off your hood. And he's like, you first. So she does. And he's like, and then she sees his hair and he's like, oh my God, you cut it off. She's like, do you think I could braid these tiny pieces? Like, there's just like the familiarity between the two. And like, you can just sense and feel how much like they missed each other.
Yeah.
And it's like in this book, for a lot of it, he's fighting it as hard as he possibly can. He's like, I don't want to think about her like this. I shouldn't think about her like this.
She's young. I love that he has that thought. The amount of time, he has it a lot. And I was really proud of him. I was like, I'm really proud of you.
I love a self-aware kid.
Because sometimes people are like, I'm 400, she's 19. No, big. We're all legal here. And I'm like, that's weird. You should have a thought at least once that this is weird.
Maybe.
Just once.
But that is such a you comment. To be like, she says he's young. I liked that.
Because he was like, she is too young. This is not right. This is not like, there's a...
Yeah.
He recognizes it. And I'm like, even if you recognize it and then you still go forward with the actions you want to do,
okay,
we're good.
But you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge
it. That there's an age difference. Just acknowledgement would be great.
Yeah. And yeah, he tries real hard. But she doesn't make it easy. I fucking love Aylin. I love her so much. Like, she's like, boundaries? What are those? I'm gonna push them. She
fucking shoves those boundaries with
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
but like,
because she's like, no, like I want this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite parts of the entire series is when when Lorcan shows up, and like catches her off guard, and he's like, I failed you, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
After like he tells her not to touch him like that, but it's like finally he's like, I did miss you. I missed you.
He admits all his feelings.
And like, it's so crazy to me when I'm like, you guys were already saying like crazy shit to each other.
Crazy shit.
And you're like, but we're like just friends. Like, he's just a part of my court. And I'm like, aw. I'm like,
this man did a blood oath to me willingly in front of his queen, who he had his blood oath to, but we're just casual.
And then right after it happened, he grabs me into an embrace and puts our foreheads together, but like, could mean nothing.
Platonic.
Totally.
Completely platonic.
Like, they said like really intense stuff to each other, and I'm like, hello?
To whatever end, platonically.
Platonic. Could mean nothing, really.
Because he fights showing her any romantic emotion for almost the whole book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's really only when he like faces a moment where he's like, I could have lost you, that he's like, I do miss you. And that's when he's like, it was an ocean separating us, but if it was like the world, I would tear them apart to find you. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. I think you might love her.
I think we have a word for this, sir.
It might be love. Oh, and it's so hot when she like bares her neck to him.
Oh yeah.
And I was like reading it and I was like, okay. I'm like, this is YA.
Okay. It's YA, but it's like written very tastefully, and like it still makes you like feel a lot of things.
So that's
without saying anything explicitly.
Yes, that is
which is amazing.
My favorite things about YA. You know me. We talked about it. I love yearning. I love tension. YA is perfect for that. When the writing's good, YA is the ultimate place where you're going to get exactly that. Because once you get into the adult books, they feel like you need the smut.
They bang a lot faster.
The physical stuff, which is fine. I like that. But I love like yearning. And you will get that in a well-written YA romance.
We got that in Powerless One, and that's why we liked it.
Yes. Yeah. And like We Hunt the Flame, that's YA. And that is some of the most intense longing I've ever read in my life. Like the way that they think about each other, I'm like, this is so like utterly romantic, and it's a YA novel. It's a YA duology, and it's one of the most beautiful duologies I've ever read because of the way it's written, the way that they think about each other, the way that they speak to each other, the way that they just like long for one another.
Peaches and Honey.
Peaches and Honey, like
just finished the first one. Oh my god, it's so good. So good. Oh my god.
Peaches and Honey was a top tier novel.
If you haven't even thought about this book, think about it.
Yes, please.
Because this is so off topic for 5 seconds. Well, we've been off topic a lot tonight. Peaches and Honey. I know, sure. Peaches and Honey was so freaking good. Character development, storyline, magic, all good.
And the writing?
Oh, the writing's beautiful.
It's beautiful. The way, like her descriptiveness about emotions, through dialogue, about places. I'm like, it's beautiful.
It's just, I mean, I texted her halfway through. There's a part in the book that I actually like straight up just cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually, so it's so funny. The author keeps a tear jar that she drops like little marbles into whenever someone tags her and is like, you just made me sob. And she'll like make a video and she'll be like dropping it into the tear jar. And the moment that you texted me and said that you were crying is one of the most popular moments where people are like, you just made me sob.
Oh yeah, no, I sobbed.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's such a beautiful, the duology is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. So anyways, back on this book. Sorry. But as we're saying with YA intention, we just gave you some good examples.
Yes.
In this book, or in this series, especially with the two of them, their tension goes on a lot longer. Like her and Kale get to the point a little quicker. Her and Dorian never get to the point because they never really going to.
Mm-hmm. But even her and Kale getting to the point, it's like, it wasn't though. It took 2 books.
Yeah, okay. But,
you know what I mean?
No, but it wasn't, as we have always said, that this series is a fantasy with romance, not a romantasy.
Yes.
So it takes 2 books because that's not the forefront of the storyline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But in this book, there is tension.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's so heavily trying to resist her.
Absolutely. And she's like, I know that there's something here. And it's like the one moment that you see her insecure.
Yes.
Because she's not insecure. That girl is
she's
so
confident. Yeah.
So, and it's the one moment where you see her like question herself.
Yeah.
When she touches his face and he reacts. And she doesn't read it as he's reacting because of the trauma that comes along with the tattoo that's on his face. She is like, of course he doesn't want me. I'm young. I'm his queen. And she takes it and she thinks it's like about her.
Yeah.
It's the one I think it's actually the singular moment in this entire series where I can't think of another moment where she like second guesses herself or becomes insecure.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, after she like gets Rowan in this book, there's nothing for her to feel insecure about. You know what I mean? She's a queen. She's coming into her right. And the one thing that she wanted for herself outside of that, she has.
Yeah.
They've accepted each other. They know that they want one another. They know that they're there for each other. Like, that's it. So like for the rest of the series, I really can't think of a single moment where she's like, we're that level of insecure.
Yeah,
so,
I feel that.
Yeah. But yeah, this book was so good.
It's an incredible book.
And like we get Aiden back.
Yeah. I love his story in this book. He's incredible throughout it.
Yeah.
I love him in general. I want the best for him.
Aiden's okay.
Oh.
That's my opinion. I'm not going to say anything more.
I love that opinion.
Yeah, he's okay.
I love the fact that I'll learn something new that I might not like.
In this book, loved him. You know, I think sometimes like I did want him to just like shut up. I wanted him to just like stop pushing himself. But I think something that it's like the Fae male ego is just like it's at the forefront.
Okay.
At every moment. And I think that was a lot in this book. And
yes, because he's all like butthurt that he wasn't the first one to like be like
Yes.
do the like birth the blood right or whatever.
And it definitely continues a little bit.
Okay.
You will see as the series goes on. I think Adian's okay. But I am with this book, I was like, finally she has her cousin back, she has her family back, she has like her person back, the only person in the entire world who knows remotely what it's like to be her, which was and then I love her relationship with Lysandra. I love Lysandra.
Have a moment for Lysandra.
We've talked so much about her like
shifting bitch.
We talk so much about her male relationships, and so another moment in this book that I loved was when Lysandra showed up and they were on the roof and she like ushered Lysandra out and Rowan smiled and he's like, I love that she has a female friend.
Yes.
It's so sweet because she doesn't have any.
Well, and if you read Assassin's Blade, her and Lysandra like don't fuck with each other at all. She thinks they're competing for Sam. And they're not. But like, I love Lysandra. She's so cool at the end too.
There is at no point in the series where Lysandra is not the fucking best. She's the best. She's a ride or die.
Yeah.
That girl's a ride or die.
She's awesome.
Yeah. And like we learn so much more about her too because everybody in this freaking series has trauma. But like she was a courtesan for so many years. So she's we see so much more of her like having a really hard time with like intimacy with others and like being around men is like difficult for her. In terms of in a certain way. Yeah. While at the same time she's this like badass shape-shifting snow ghost leopard and like she's so fucking cool.
She's so cool.
Lysandra. I love
her.
Because like Evangeline, her little Evangeline.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, and like what's cool about Lysandra is like shapeshifters are like definitely almost extinct. So like she's super rare.
It's like Rowan, there's like this running joke about how he's like the Suriel of Throne of Glass because he just like drops people's business everywhere. Because like when he looks at Aiden, he's like, don't you know who sired you? And they're like, what?
Oh my god.
And then we find out that Gabriel's his father.
Yeah.
And he's like, you met him already, Gabriel. And I'm just like, I don't know if people should know that information. And then Lysandra, when she's like, I like your canines, or like, I like your bangs, and he's like studying them so you can shape into them, and I'm just like,
oh my god, yeah, he does. He calls everyone out in this book.
He is the Suriel.
Yeah. Let's have a moment for Gabriel too. Gabriel's an interesting character.
Yes.
He's definitely showing some face in this book.
Yes, Gabriel, Lorcan.
Yeah.
I love Lorcan.
Lorcan's pretty great so far.
I love Lorcan. I love Gabriel. Alid is one of my favorite characters as well. Because she's one of those characters where you think that she's like shy and sweet, but she's so cunning. She's so cunning. Well, you'll see more of that in like the next book. But she is...
I like her connection to Aelin too.
Yeah. The fact that her mother's the one who saved her.
Yep. That was really cool.
Yeah. This is what I mean. Like, this was the book where it's like,
the worlds are connecting.
Ties, little threads are starting to come together.
It's like season 3 or whatever of Game of Thrones where everything... it's all like everyone's point of view start to blend into one giant point of view.
All connections start getting made for sure. Yeah. So this is the book where that happens. I want to bring up like 2 other points in this book are like 2 of my... One of them is like a really sad part and the other one is like a sad part, but it's like also like... So the first one is one of the saddest parts of this entire series is that one, like, I don't know if it's a chapter or if it's just a passage about the orchestra.
Yeah.
That performs all of the songs for all of the places and then is never seen again. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a... When I read that, I was like, thanks, Sarah. That hurt like a bitch.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, tug at the heartstrings. That one hurt.
Talk about taking a risk with your art and pain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, It's one of the saddest parts of this series that I've read.
It applies to our world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why when people say that fantasy and like books aren't like political, I'm like,
fuck off.
Quick question, what do you think they're like based on?
They're normally weirdly very political.
Where do you think that the inspiration came from?
The storylines are normally very political. They're normally about like a political system that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And there just happen to be like tigers that talk.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or whatever, or like Faye.
If you're reading a fantasy or a sci-fi novel, it's political. Like it's
normally
based off
political.
of something that is probably happening in our current climate.
Yeah, it's normally
in the past or whatever.
It's normally a way to like look at what's happening in our world and like put like a spin on it that makes you feel like you're not reading something directly from the source. Well,
because when the election happened and like all over like book talk, people were like, "Why are we making books political?" And I'm like,
"Oh my god!" So many authors came out. They're like, "My books are political."
Yeah, I'm like, if you're reading a book that isn't political, that means you're reading no books by people of color. Yeah. Anybody in the LGBTQ community, you are reading nothing outside of a fun little romance. And like, if that's your thing, cool. But like, don't pretend that reading is not. And books are not political.
Fantasy books are almost completely political.
Yeah, it's like crazy. But and the last thing I'm gonna bring up is the moment where Aelin dresses in like her green tunic and everything and asks Rowan to come with her to Sam's grave.
Yes.
And she says the most beautiful words where she's like, "You would have made a great king. They probably would have liked you more than they liked me." And she's like, "I wonder if we were mates and like we just didn't know it." And she just talks about how she misses him and like she thinks about him. And then when Rowan like comes up and he's like, "I know what he was to you," because she starts to explain.
Yeah.
And then I have this literally like in my brain. It's like, it says, "And with heartbreaking gentleness, he picks up one of the stones and places it on top of his grave." And I was just like, I think I did in fact sob.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful scene.
Like anything with Sam, this one person on TikTok the other day was like, "I didn't think that Sam's storyline was that sad." And I'm like, or like was like that important. And I'm like, Sam's storyline has so much to do with her storyline. And also like, what?
I cried. I texted you that I cried during Assassin's Blade.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? And I actually commented and I was like, Sam's like death and who he was like defines so much of who she becomes. Oh my God, I was like, he's integral to her growth, to her story. I was like, but I'm like, this is a hot take. Like, this is a very hot take. But people can have their opinions. Who am I to tell you what to believe?
We try not to yuck yums here, although we do.
Yeah, I was like,
we definitely do. Who are we kidding?
Who am I supposed to tell you that you're wrong, even though you are?
But you are.
When Emily and I posted about Quicksilver, which we did not like.
No.
You guys did in fact comment and say it's okay to be wrong.
That was the best comment we got for that.
I was like, okay, sure.
I was like, yeah, I mean, I could be. I'm choosing to believe I'm not.
Yeah, in your eyes, I could be.
I could be wrong.
I don't think I am though.
I don't think so.
My friend, so Jenna, actually read it. And she put on Goodreads. She gave it 4 stars. Jenna, I'm so sorry I'm calling you out.
Sorry, Jenna.
And I commented on it. I go, Jenna, no. And then I commented again. I go, we need to talk about this. I was like, girl, no. No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But
so funny.
Yeah.
Well, we love this book.
Oh yeah, we love this book. Shall we rate it?
Yeah, let's do our ratings.
Okay. Well, I mean, on the romance meter?
Oh, this one is like a 3.
I would say about a 3.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's romance in this.
Mm-hmm. What do we call it? Our sexy meter?
Well, plus Hale and Nesrin.
Yeah, but like
very little, but like they have a little romantic-ish moment.
Yeah. I would say, which I also love Nesrin. I think she's so cool.
Yeah. Sorry, now the next one.
Yeah, the next one. which, oh my God, sorry. I have to talk about something else again.
Do it.
At the end, because Kale, obviously, he can't walk. So they're going to the southern continent and they're going to find him a healer. And I grasp onto any moment that has the three of them together, Aelin, Dorian, and Kale. Like any moment that has the three of them together, I literally hold on to that. Yeah. Or even just the two of them. So there's like a moment where Aelin, after Dorian talks to Kale and leaves his room, Aylin's waiting for Dorian. And she just goes to his room with him and sits with him for a long time. And then before she departs, and the three of them are sitting in her old room together. And I think it was literally a year before that they met her. Yeah. Or something. This is within a year. Yeah. And I think Kale is the one, I'm actually going to pull it up. This one, Dorian says, so here we are. And Aelin goes, the end of the road. And Kale goes, no, the beginning of the next. And I just love little... Yeah. I love little moments like that with the three of them because they're the original trio. The original trio. And I'm just it just brings back memories of when I first started this series. Yeah. I love this series so much. So I grasp at any moment where the two of them are together or the three of them are together. I literally hold on to those moments for dear life. Yeah, so, for sure. I love that moment. Yeah. That's a good moment. That's a good moment. Yeah. So good. So we had romance. Then what was the next one? Was it our sexy meter? What do we call it? Sexy meter for this book? I mean, the neck with the canines was pretty fucking hot. Yeah. I'll give it a 1. That was it. That was the only thing that was in it. That was the only, it wasn't that sexy of a book. I agree with that. And then I think our overall rating. Yeah. This is a 5-star read for me. Honestly, I gave it 5 stars. Yeah, this is an easy 5 stars for me. I think that Empire of Storms is everything that a fantasy book should be, but I think that Queen of Shadows also is really high up there. Yeah. I can't think of anything I didn't like about this book. Well, in general with this series, as we talked about TV shows with heroines that are super annoying, that make stupid decisions, Aelin is really likable. Yes. Even if all the side characters, even if one of them bugs me for a while or one of them is making poor choices, because she's so likable in my eyes, I can enjoy the book seamlessly. Yeah. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Aelin. No, she's very, I've never seen that opinion. But she's incredibly likable because she's very confident and sure of herself, but also makes really wise choices and is very smart and very she's never self-sabotaging or bringing down a situation or Kale was the one who ran off. She wasn't the one who did that. He was the one who caused all the havoc. It wasn't her. She's just a really likable character, so it makes the series overall very, very easy to fall in love with. Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you enjoyed this, oh yeah, and you are new here, please go follow us on Instagram and TikTok because that's still around. TikTok is still here, guys. It's still here for now. Well, enough said about that. At Booked Up Babes Pod, you can watch us on YouTube if you aren't already. At Booked Up Babes. You can email us if you are so inclined at bookedupbabes@gmail.com. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, Apple Pods, Amazon, those are our main 3, please just rate, review, subscribe, do whatever you can to get more people to come and listen to us. Yeah, please. We'd appreciate it. Yes, we would. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's it. Bye. Off to such a good start. Such a good start. I got our shit together. When have we ever? No, usually when we don't have our shit together is when we thrive the most. It's our best. It is our best work, for sure. Don't be suspicious. 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 Don't be suspicious.
John Ralphio might be one of my favorite TV characters ever.
I love him.
Jenny Slate!
Yes!